My name is David, and I'm a virtual computerized trainer of Train You Can, an accredited training network. We often have questions regarding accreditation: what does it really mean, and how can I confirm that someone or something is accredited? This falls into two different categories, namely, A. Provider accreditation, and B. Program accreditation. We can even go further to add individual accreditation to this list. Okay, so let's look at the first accreditation, namely, individual accreditation. Individual accreditation means the person, may that be a trainer, assessor, or moderator. Imagine you trainer a group of people and one of your learners ask you if you an accredited trainer. How will you respond to this? Any person who wants to train or facilitate must be accredited with at least an NQF5 unit standard, such as 117871, also known as Train the Trainer. Remember that the facilitator's course and Train the Trainer is the same thing. People who want to assess must be accredited and completed the official assessment unit standard, currently 115753, and completed this through the ETDP CETA, as per the SACWE policy of October 2001. The same again for moderators that had to do at least an NQF6 unit standard. As already mentioned, that the only acceptable certificates or individual accreditation must be on a NQF5 or higher, completed the nationally accepted program created for this purpose, and have a valid statement of results from the ETDP CETA with these programs on. The next type of accreditation will be the training providers accreditation. Training providers must be registered as a business with CIPC and SARS, and can only be accredited with one CETA. That's right, a training provider can only be accredited with one CETA. Now, what does the CETA look at when a training provider wants to become accredited? Firstly, they will look at the offices, equipment, computers, desk, filing cabinets. If you meet all the legal and safety requirements, do you have at least 2 accredited trainers, assessors, and moderators? In order to complete the process, you also need at least 1 accredited training program through the same CETA. Just remember that training program accreditation is a total different process again and carries its own accreditation. This will be our last form of accreditation. Any training program must be designed around a unit standard or a qualification. These unit standards and qualification can fall under one or more CETAs that can do the approval for programs that was designed around them. So you can be accredited with one CETA and offer training programs from a different CETA, as the two types of accreditation is totally different. The CETA will look at stuff like your design, your facilitator guides, learner guide and workbook and assessment guides before approving these programs. So let us summarize this again. We get 3 different types of accreditation, namely an individual or person's accreditation, a training provider's accreditation, and a training program's accreditation. A person can only be accredited as a trainer, assessor, and moderator through the ETDP CETA, but the training provider can be accredited through any CETA. The same training provider can also offer training programs from different CETAs, as they carry their own accreditation. Let's see what SACWE say about training provider accreditation. A body may be accredited as a provider by an education and training quality assurance body whose primary focus coincides with the primary focus of the provider, provided that the body seeking accreditation A. is registered as a provider in terms of the applicable legislation at the time of application for accreditation, B. has a quality management system which includes but is not limited to C. quality management policies, which define that which the provider wishes to achieve, D. quality management procedures which enable the provider to practice its defined quality management policies, or E. review mechanisms which ensure that the quality management policies and procedures defined are applied and remain effective, such as necessary financial, administrative and physical resources, policies and practices for staff selection, appraisal and development, learner entry, guidance and support systems, policies and practices for the management of off-site components, policies and practices for the management of assessment which include appeals systems, necessary reporting procedures, and the ability to achieve the desired outcomes. F. has not already been granted accreditation by or applied for accreditation to another education and training quality assurance body contemplated in Regulation 2 of the ETQA regulations. So how can I check if a training provider is accredited? Firstly, we must understand the correct terminology. There is a big difference between accredited programs and NQF accredited programs. Open Google and see the meaning of accreditation. Accreditation is a process in which certification of competency, authority, or credibility is presented. In most cases by a higher authority. Now, where did it mention the CETA or any of the processes? Example, say I have 3 stores and a head office in Johannesburg. My head office in Johannesburg will be my higher authority, and once they approve my programs, I can call it accredited. Interesting, won't you say? So the only way you can confirm that the program is accredited is if you use the following legislated terms used in the Software and Skills Development Act, namely, 1. CETA accredited, 2. NQF accredited, 3. NRLD, for the learner database, and 4. Software accredited. Make sure that these terms don't only appear on the training provider's homepage, but also on the course synopsis. Without, you have no legal rights. How to confirm that a training provider or program is accredited? Here are some guidelines on this process. You can ask for their accreditation number or certificate from the CETA. They should also have this on their website or program correspondence, including manuals. Most of the CETAs do not allow the use of their logos on websites, emails, or learning programs. Don't be fooled with a CETA logo. Contact the relevant CETA, ETQA, directly. These CETAs approved the training providers and training programs, so why not ask them directly? Alternative, you can also check on the SOCWA website by confirming the provider's name at the bottom of the unit standard or qualification. We had several reports in the past where this information was not 100% correct, so once again, rather check with the relevant CETA directly. Contact the local CETA and ask for any feedback from the training provider. Did they receive any serious complaints about the provider in the past? Ask for referrals directly from the training provider. What is the process or duration till I receive my final certificate? Ask about their supporting structure and possible reassessment fees. Do they provide ongoing support? Do they ask for registration fees that is normally used as commission for the middleman between you and the provider? Do they make mention of their supporting structure on their website or communication? Do they make mention of their fee structure on their website or communication? It's always easy to change the terms and conditions if you haven't confirmed this in writing, so what are my rights? Looking at the above criteria, it is clear that the CETA/NQF accredited training provider must have all the required documentation, processes, and supporting structures in place. Not providing the necessary support during the learning process must be reported directly to SOCWA or the relevant ETQA or CETA. After all, it is one of the key criteria provided by SOCWA for provider accreditation. Ongoing support. So that's it. End of this video, and don't worry, you can always watch my video again if you're not clear on anything. Thank you for watching my video on accreditation. For more information, visit our training website on www.trainucan.coza. Alternatively, you can also watch more of my videos on www.youcantrain.coza. Bye bye, and have fun with your learning.